ready to elevate your living room? You can do that at Miskelly Furniture. Would you like to try out the purple mattress that I've been sleeping on the last couple of years? And you can do that at any of the Miskelly sleep stores or Miskelly Furniture. And it is fabulous. But elevate your living room or your bar area or your kitchen at Miskelly Furniture. And don't forget about the one and the only purple mattress from any of the Miskelly sleep stores. Groundbreaking, no-pressure gel technology is the star of every purple mattress presented by Miskelly sleep stores. Good morning. Welcome in. Out of Bounds, 105.9 The Zone, ESPN. Lunch today brought to you by Burgers, Blues, and Barbecue in Flowood, in Dogwood. Burgers, Blues, Barbecue, Dogwood. Yesterday, I went and got Jason and I lunch from B3 in Madison.
Mm-hmm.
And Jason smashed another Sonic Boom burger, but we decided that next order had to be the comeback burger.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
But the Sonic Boom is undefeated.
Yeah, I'm with you. It smelled great. Of course, you had onion rings in your to-go box, too, and that smelled great in my car, too.
Well, of course. And then you got to take the one onion ring tax. I get it.
Yeah, I did. I do that every time.
There's a one ring tax.
There's an onion ring tax for me to go and get it and pay for it.
I understand that. And
so
I'm fine.
I had an onion ring, and it was fabulous. I think I could eat like 12 of them.
Ooh. Get like a side as an appetizer?
Yeah.
Let's go.
No, that is what you have to do. When you go to a place that has good onion rings, even if it's a side, you just get it as an appetizer.
Exactly.
You may get it again later, but you get it as an appetizer.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody asked the question, Bo, talk about some of the job openings in college hoops real quick, and I'll tie this into Chip Kelly in a minute, okay? So, Louisville is going to open up. And we just talked about Bourbon Country and the fact that Ole Miss played there last night and how we all know how much they love hoops in Lexington and Louisville. And they're both great places to go and hang out. And I 10, 12, I don't remember the first time I went up to, I'd already been to Lexington, a couple of times. But the first time that I got picked up from the airport to go meet Four Roses, but now we're with Wilderness Trail and Russell's Reserve, but Sports Talk Radio was in the car in the Uber, and Rick Pitino was under. I guess maybe Pitino, maybe it was. He had an affair, and maybe the lady was trying to blackmail him or something. But it was insanity what I was listening to, and it was during football season. But that's all they were talking about was college hoops. So it goes kind of shows you how they're wired up there. Maybe that's why Dan McDonnell will never leave. He's like, dude, they'll never fire me. I mean, Dan McDonnell's a hell of a baseball coach, but he's like, they'll never fire me because it's all hoops, then football, then baseball up here. In this state, you can get your you-know-what on the hot seat in baseball in a red-hot second. Ask Chris Lemonis or Mike Bianco, who both have national championships.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
So let me continue on. College basketball jobs that are going to open. Louisville is a rock star job. They care. They have money. They're alums, super wealthy. They'll fill up an NIL for a basketball team. They'll pay, I think they would pay well north of $7 million, maybe even more, maybe $8 million. And then if you want to combine kind of a co-op of under the table and NIL money, then, we can get well over $10 million pretty quick for a basketball team. And I'd love to know what Cal and Kentucky's alums have in their current. I was thinking about that last night as I was watching the Ole Miss. That's the things I think about. Like, how much money do they have in this team? I'd love to know. Both under the table. How many third parties did they have to pay? And then NIL money. I mean, I know it's millions, but I want to know like within 500,000. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's hard to ever get that exact because we're dealing with under the table money,
of course,
and legit money like NIL. But the kicker's the cash, as they always say. So Louisville's going to open up, Ohio State's going to open up, and Michigan's going to open up. They're all three rock star jobs. They have a ton of dough. I understand that Louisville likes it the best, then Michigan, then Ohio State, but Ohio State likes to win. And y'all know they're a massive athletic department. And they've already raised a tremendous amount of money for football NIL. And they just hired Chip Kelly and paid him $2 million plus.
Mm-hmm.
He was the sitting head coach at UCLA. And say that out loud. A sitting head coach at UCLA left as the head football coach of UCLA, who's now football-wise technically in the Big Ten, which is the same conference of Ohio State, left a head coaching gig in the same conference to take an offensive coordinator job. That's how much he was frustrated with NIL. That's how much he doesn't want to recruit. And that's how little UCLA is committed. Mick Cronin, who we've talked about on this show, and just follow me for just a second, we'll get into some football. Mick Cronin is the head basketball coach for UCLA. And he is a phenomenal coach. Okay? And what he did at Cincinnati, and I told y'all a few years ago when Ben Hallen was the coach at Mississippi State, Cincinnati came in to town, and they had a good team. And somehow I got a seat right behind Mick Cronin. I mean, I could have handed him a Diet Coke. And I have been right beside the bench, behind the bench, and I have heard coaches say everything under the sun. And I have never in my life heard a coach talk to his players and assistant coaches like that. But Mick Cronin has already had success out at UCLA, as y'all know, because you watched him in the Final Four a couple of years ago. And that was an unbelievable Final Four. He is telling everybody that will listen that think about the wealth that UCLA has.
Ooh.
$1 billion endowment, top 10 public university. I've been on the campus. Jason's been on. I mean, I've said this before. It smells like money, not millionaires, billionaires. Some of those beautiful people I've ever seen in my life. But they can't get their act together on NIL. Keep an eye on that. Would Cronin go back to the Midwest? He's already proven that he could win at the Natty. So for people wanting to protect someone from coming in to get Beard or Jans, okay, Cronin is at UCLA. He's been at Cincinnati. He won there. He won his way out of there in what you would think would be a premier job, but now the table's been reset with NIL. And UCLA's never been committed they're committed academically.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And they're committed research-wise. And some of these schools have just decided we'll have our multi-billion-dollar endowment. We'll be top 10 public university, and we're not going to get into that. Right now, UCLA and Stanford, even though Stanford's private, but you know where I'm going. Okay? In Florida. I don't know what Florida's going to do. Now, they're winning in basketball, and they won again last night, and they may have something going. I like their team, and I said that when they lost the first game to Kentucky that I watched. It was close. Kentucky pulled away with about 2.5 left. But it looks like they're doing some good things. Back to what could happen here. You could have a disruption. Louisville can do what they want in hoops. Ohio State can darn near do what they want. And Michigan can do what they want. Now, what is Cronin going to do at UCLA if he says, okay, you're not going to fill up the coffers? I need $7 million.
Ooh.
I want to go to Final Fours. Nonstop. That is what all the coaches talk about. I want to go to Final Fours. This is what I want. Say what you want about him. He is a heck of a basketball coach, Jason. Michigan's a rock star job.
Mm-hmm.
Was it Beeline that left, Jason, and went to the Cleveland Cavaliers? Golly, he had it rolling. His style of play just really messed people up. And especially once he got you down in the last, was it John Beeline?
Yes.
He looked like a nuclear engineering professor.
Okay. I'd say somebody that comes to your house to do an assessment about like your
encyclopedias?
Or your piping and stuff.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
a surveyor. That's what he looks like. looks like a survey.
Oh, you're more of like a geo-engineer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's coming to make sure your
He's a
foundation's
geologist.
okay. Okay. Yeah. Perfect. We just figured it out here.
Wow.
But yeah, he did leave for the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yeah, and that lasted like 5 minutes. He didn't even make them pay him out. Can you believe that? I can't.
He coached at one school. I've never heard of this. Canisius College?
Yeah, I've heard of it. I think our Rebs and Dogs have played him in baseball. I got to think that through, my man.
Sounds like a name from the Bible.
It does. Hey, Cronin, Final Four, Sweet 16 at UCLA. That's unbelievable. You know what they are this year? 13-11. You think he's going to hang out if they're not going to give him $7+ million a year?
No shot.
Guess where he's from?
Where's that?
Cincinnati, Ohio. You think that's Ross Bjork's number one target?
No doubt. Hopefully he
But
stays away
there's
from
going to be
Beard.
3 jobs. Louisville? So if Cronin could pick, man. You don't ever know, right? I mean,
That's a good point.
Look what he did at the Natty. I mean, this is crazy. All right. NCAA tournament, tournament, all in a row. Even the good teams miss out.
Wow.
Cal's missed out.
Yeah.
Duke has missed out. So that's something to keep an eye on when you're talking about Beard and Jans. We could have kind of a 4, we've got the Midwest in Louisville and Ohio State and Michigan, all rock star jobs. Maybe UCLA is not a rock star job. Maybe they're going to have to hire an assistant. Coaches all talk.
Mm-hmm.
Mick, it's not like Mick Cronin isn't telling his buddies what's going on. And you don't go from Final Four, Sweet 16 to now they're 13-11. Ohio State's going to bounce their dude. What's his name? Chris Holtman. And then Juwan Howard. You know who that is.
Yeah.
He was part of the Fab Five at Michigan. And that thing is imploded underneath him.
Who
Looks
was
like
it?
a lot of dysfunction in that. I tell you what's been dysfunctional is Louisville. Go ahead.
Who was it that called the timeout when they didn't have a timeout?
Chris Webber. One of my
Chris
favorite
Webber.
players ever.
That's who it was.
I loved him. I was cheering so hard for the Sacramento Kings against the Los Angeles Lakers in the Western Conference Championship in like somewhere around 2000. It was the one time first of all, their uniforms were cool. 2, I loved Weber. They just didn't have enough juice. I don't know if I don't know if that was Kobe Shaq. I think it was.
Yeah, it had to be.
Yeah. So it was Kobe Shaq. They just didn't have enough juice. It was a great series. Anyway, I don't want to get into that. All right, let's switch gears. Nobody cares about Kings Lakers 24 years ago, except me because I'm a nerd. The Out of Bounds Show is driven by your next Ford F-150 truck, Mack Hike Ford, I-55 North in Jackson. So make sure you take notes on that, Jason. Michigan, Ohio State, Louisville. What could happen with Cronin at UCLA, and what does that mean if Beard and Jans make a run here over the next, which I want them to make a run, but it's February 14th. We've got about 3 weeks. We got to get going. Still time. Love Ole Miss's schedule to close, kind of like Mississippi State's. But State has a nice 26 spot lead on the net rankings. You can make that up, but Ole Miss has the A&M win. Mississippi State has the Auburn and Tennessee win at home, plus 2 non-cons that the number nerds analytics like. That's where we are. Ole Miss doesn't have that juice in the non-conference.
Right.
But those are big jobs. They're going to pay a lot of money, and they're going to have to promise whoever's coming in at Michigan, Ohio State, and Louisville. But I know Louisville will throw down. I mean, Denny Crum was dirty as all get out. And Tino didn't play around. They shouldn't have vacated that national championship, by the way. That's nonsense. The bottom line is those are big jobs. Those are big jobs. And it may not just be them. I mean, we could be talking about some other coaches.
Yeah.
In the SEC. I mean, not Bruce Pearl or Cal or Rick Barnes at this age. I think he's got everything he wants at Tennessee, even though, Louisville, how do you Mm. So I don't know if anybody would move, actually. Jason? Musselman, no.
Yeah, they wouldn't want him.
Buzz, why would Buzz Williams move? McMahon seems to be going in the right direction at LSU. That was a 2-point game last night against Florida. I'm going through the league here. I don't see Bruce Pearl leaving Auburn. I think he loves it. He fits in there. He knows that they love football, but they're getting juiced up about basketball too. So just kind of going through the Stackhouse is going to get fired, and obviously best dressed guy in the league and great player, but I don't think that's going to work out at Vanderbilt. So you're going to have two former really good NBA players in Juwan Howard and Jerry Stackhouse get let go, but Michigan should win. Vandy, they definitely did embrace the paying players NIL movement.
Did you see that win last night for the Commodores? Though?
I saw that.
Little buzzer beater action.
I think it's too little too late.
Oh, yeah.
So they did this last year, and they went on a heck of a run. I mean, he was on fire. I don't remember what he did on the way out. It was like they won like 8 or 9 on the way out last year, and he saved his job. No, dude, he had some they played really good basketball the last 4 weeks of the season. And we're almost there. I mean, they were on the bubble, but just kind of that second bubble. But not enough this year. Okay, let's switch gears. Chip Kelly. I mentioned that earlier. Can you believe someone left a Power 5 position at UCLA to take an offensive coordinator position at Ohio State? Now, I know Ohio State recruits itself, and I'm sure Ryan Day, who was his quarterback at New Hampshire or wherever, was like, hey, look, coach, we need you to come in. You're a baller as far as scheming it up and play calling. We'll just put you on maybe one recruit, maybe the quarterback. We'll do it together.
Yeah.
And other than that, I want you to be a mad scientist. And you don't have to worry about NIL. We've got plenty of money. And Ryan Day's like, but I need a dude. We've known each other since I played for you. And people think that we could be the preseason favorite or Georgia. Here's what we got.
Yeah. I mean, they went from missing on Bill O'Brien to landing Chip Kelly.
That's an upgrade.
That's a huge upgrade. I don't like to.
Well, it may be. Bill
like
O'Brien, for our listeners, not that you care, is the new head football coach at Boston College. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't like to compliment Ross Bjork, but going from Bill O'Brien, which was a bad idea, to Chip Kelly, which.
But that was Ryan Day's idea.
Right.
That's not Ross.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ross may have to sign a piece of paper, okaying the salary, but that's purely Ryan Day. And Ryan Day's got to do some things because he's lost 3 years in a row to Michigan, and Michigan just won a national title. However, it lined up for Ohio State. Why?
Harbaugh's gone.
Exactly. And Sharon Moore won't be able to fill those shoes.
How is there a timetable, or you just don't think it'll happen?
It won't happen. I don't think it'll happen. I'm sure. I know he knows football. I'm sure he's a good guy, a decent coach. He's following the best coach they've ever had. Yes, better than Schembechler and obviously better than Lloyd Carr at Michigan. Jim Harbaugh was the best coach to ever coach at Michigan and took down Ohio State 3 years in a row and doesn't recruit like they do.
After people saying that he would never beat Ohio State.
Yes, we didn't.
I mean, that's 3 years straight. I don't know. I could see Michigan back on top soon. Obviously not next year, but I could see them.
I think that ship sailed.
You think?
I do.
It's just one and done, and then.
I do. They'll be good.
Yeah.
They're always going to have enough money, enough players, enough juice, enough brand, enough, 9 wins, 10 wins. And in this new college football playoff, 12 teams, you can stumble twice and still get in.
And be fine.
What Ole Miss wants to avoid is multiple bigger brands stumbling twice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you look at Bama and Georgia have to play. You look at what Michigan's doing in their non-con. But could we have this bunched up, 10, all these 10-2 teams where we're like, oh yeah, you go 10-2, you're a slam dunk at number 11 or 12. Yeah, but what about on years where we've got a bunch of 10-2s?
Mm-hmm.
Because Ole Miss wants to, they want to be part of the crew that gets a bye. But if not, do you think that?
That's not happening.
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
But they want to get in, and then they want to host a game. I think December 20th in Oxford, first round.
Yeah.
You'd still go on the road. You would take that.
Of course.
Like we said earlier, you'd go to Clemson.
You're in there.
Yeah. You'd go to Clemson. You'd go to Ohio State. You'd go to Michigan. You'd go to
Tallahassee,
Florida State.
maybe.
Yeah. Norvell's still going to. I do think that's one to watch, though. I think they're scratching and clawing Florida State to get out of the ACC because they don't have SEC or Big Ten money. How's it going to look now that they are suing or trying to find a loophole, whatever, to get out of their grant of rights deal? But watch Norvell.
Yeah, earlier you brought up coaches.
Can you imagine if Florida took Norvell and money whipped Florida State? Now, Florida hasn't gotten serious. They're another top 10 public institution, big $1 billion endowment, blah, blah, blah. But something's been off since Urban Meyer. And I can't put a finger on it, Jason. Something is off at Florida. Now, they've won in baseball. Now they're winning in basketball. They are trending towards the NCAA tournament, which is a good thing for Florida Gator fans. But post Urban Meyer, something's weird in the water down there.
I mean, they went to an SEC championship with Dan.
No, Dan, 95% of what Dan was the right hire. Mississippi State fans get mad at Scott Strickland. Okay, fine. He was going to Tennessee. You just got mad when Scott looked at the land. Look, he did everything he could to hire Chip Kelly. They caught him at his home up in New Hampshire. Okay. He did everything he could to hire Chip Kelly, and Chip Kelly was like, I don't want the pressure of the SEC. So he went to UCLA and then realized because they don't drive enough pressure through this building, we're never going to get where we want to go. So now he's the OC at Ohio State. Mullen was the right hire. 95% of what he did was unbelievable. You just said back-to-back New Year's Six bowl games, beat Harbaugh in Michigan, beat Kirby in year 2 in Georgia. Kirby had a 4-year head start on him. And then something weird. Threw the shoe, something weird. I don't know.
Yeah.
But something's in the water. And Napier may not even coach against Ole Miss, which could be a huge deal for y'all late in the year, having to go to Gainesville. Are you better? Yes. But can they beat you if they're actually playing well? Yes.
No doubt.
Mississippi State is going to get Billy Napier because it's the fourth game of the year. Third or fourth game of the year for Mississippi State. At home, by the way. First time Florida's come to Davis Wade Stadium since Dan's first year in 2018 when he beat Moorhead. Dylan DeLucia, former Ole Miss pitcher, currently with the Cleveland Guardians, at 9:30 on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line.